Welcome to Where Are They Now? We reach into the archives of Lenape, Shawnee, Cherokee, and Seneca High Schools and invite selected alumni to share memories and fill us in on their career paths after commencement. Since Lenape's first graduating class in 1961, Shawnee's in 1972, Cherokee's in 1978, and Seneca's in 2005, over 72,000 individuals have received diplomas from these four schools. Hello and welcome to Where Are They Now? I'm Mark Sonsini, a 1996 graduate of Cherokee High School, and today we'll be talking with a Shawnee graduate from the class of 2008. She is a logistics officer for the United States Marine Corps, who is currently joining us from her home in Washington, D.C. I'd like to welcome Marilyn Pendlyshok to the show. Marilyn?
Hi, good morning. How are you?
Good. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you very much.
Great to have you. So before we get into your time at Shawnee, you grew up in Medford?
That is correct, yeah. I grew up in Medford, born and raised.
Okay. And any siblings that went to Shawnee as well?
Yes, I do have one sister. Her name is Sybil True. She went to Shawnee High School in the 80s, only for about a year, and then my family had to move due to the Army my father was in. So we have a little bit of Shawnee legacy.
Terrific. And any friends from Shawnee, your days at Shawnee, that you still keep in touch with today?
Oh, definitely. Some of my best friends are from my time in Shawnee. Morgan Young, Beth Kramer, Christine Kutchery, Jess Bonning, and the list goes on. But I've made some really great friends from my time in Shawnee.
Good, terrific. So let's talk about a little bit more about your time there, some of the activities you were involved in. Field hockey, swimming, and lacrosse sports were big for you at Shawnee.
Those were huge impacts in my life. My best friends played the sports with me, and it was also a way of continuity, just having some structure. It was good for me to get really involved in sports and other activities. I also did student council and volunteering. I was also involved in science club and math club for a little bit. I really enjoyed all of the extracurricular activities that were provided at Shawnee High School. Very formative for myself, and I got the opportunity to meet people, not just from the high school that I maybe didn't know growing up, but also from the Lenape Regional High School District. And it was really great. I loved traveling and getting to know different people and really challenging myself along the way, physically and mentally.
That's great. And a couple of the teachers that made a big impact on you at Shawnee, I know one was Janet Takamoto.
That's correct. Ms. Takamoto and Tim Moran, those are two of the names that come to my head. I mean, I can recall many other teachers, but those two individuals were very formative for me, very open and caring, not just about the success as a student, but your success as a person, and wanted to see you develop as a full individual. We're always there to talk with you about personal, questions or concerns that you might have, but also really challenged you in the classroom. Ms. Takamoto was an assistant for the student council homeroom, and she was very formative in allowing us to, be creative in our thoughts for student council, how to engage with our class. And I really appreciated her openness and willingness to allow us to try new things and to engage with the class in different ways.
Now, both of them were English teachers, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Was that?
I did not have Ms. Akamoto as my English teacher, but I did have Mr. Moran as my English teacher. Okay.
Was that one of your favorite subjects, or was it more just about the teacher, not so much the subject matter?
It was actually about the teacher. Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed English, but I really, really liked science when I was in high school. I wanted to do medicine, study medicine when I was in college. Obviously that changed. But I just thought English was a fun outlet. I really was drawn to both their personalities because they were just so inviting and so engaging with the classes.
Definitely. And then one of the big memories you have from Shawnee is Spirit Week.
Yes. So I was involved in the student council, as I mentioned, and to me, I loved getting together with the class and putting up pictures throughout the hallways, seeing the whole school just come together and just enjoy ourselves for that week. And it wasn't about competition. It wasn't about anything else of the stress of school or maybe the extracurriculars that are pressuring students today, but we can just enjoy ourselves, be kids, and have fun, be a little goofy during our Spirit Week.
So you finish up at Shawnee, and now you're off to the United States Naval Academy.
Yes.
Tell me about that decision. Was that an easy one for you, having a family with military background?
Sure. So although my mother, my father, and my sister, and a lot of my other family members were military members, it did not pressure me to become an active duty military member. But for me, it was a way to give back. I've been very blessed with the lifestyle that I was raised in, and I had a lot of freedoms, a lot of opportunity, and I wanted to protect that and make sure others that I could directly or indirectly affect also have those opportunities. So service to me meant going into the military. I was originally looking at going in between Texas A&M and the Naval Academy, and I got the nomination and the slot to go into the Naval Academy, and I accepted it. So July 2008, I went to the Naval Academy and did our indoctrination, which we call Plebe Summer. It was a very challenging experience, but for me, it was great. I liked the structure, and I formed great friendships there, had amazing experiences of leadership opportunities, and I was a political science major, and I had a lot of great times going down to DC and in the metropolitan area, learning about regional affairs and having unique opportunities. For example, one summer I went to the Japanese embassy, and I was able to do an internship there for about a month. And just being able to apply what I was studying was very, very beneficial.
Cool. And then, so you went in, as you said, political science and also international relations. What kind of drew you to that?
So I had the choice of 3 different categories, I guess you could say: engineering, maths, and sciences, and then there was liberal arts, which included the political science. I wanted to do something that I found enjoyable, and I think, to me, I love interacting with other people. I love learning about cultures, about history, and being able to utilize that in a way that is diplomatically engaging. I thought that was very intriguing, and especially going into the military service, I thought I need to have a bigger picture of the foreign allies and partners that we're going to be engaging with. So I chose to do international relations with a specialty in Asian affairs. There I also minored in Mandarin Chinese, and I had no idea what it would result to in my current job, but I loved learning about it, and I loved the unique experience at the Naval Academy is you have professors who are both active duty military members and also civilian counterparts as your professors. So I thought that was a very unique perspective that I was able to get at the Naval Academy.
Let you see both sides.
Yes.
Rather than just, so during your time at the Naval Academy, sports is still a big part of your life, field hockey specifically.
That is correct. So I was actually, there is no true recruitment at the Naval Academy, but I was taken in to play lacrosse. I decided after my freshman year, which we call our plebe year, to not continue on doing doing lacrosse. I wanted to really focus on my leadership and my school capabilities. So I instead joined the club team, which is field hockey. And my other friends who also joined the field hockey team, we really made it into something special. It was a very small club, and we actually made it a recognized club within the Naval Academy. Was able to have both international students and the regular academy students participate in this club, and it was a co-ed sport. And we were really able to engage with our local community and show them that the Naval Academy is more than just a midshipman. It's a bigger idea of embracing an international community and being able to go out and play games with University of Maryland, University of Delaware, and so forth. It was a lot of fun.
Very good. So after that, you finish up the Naval Academy, and then it's off to the basic school in Quantico, Virginia. Tell us what's involved with that.
Sure. So during graduation, you not only graduate from the Naval Academy, but you also become a commissioned officer. I was selected to go into the Marine Corps. Through this process is about 250 out of 1,200 graduating class are selected to go to the Marine Corps. So when I commissioned into the Marine Corps, then I went down to Quantico, Virginia to start the basic school. This is essentially a leveling course that all Marine Corps officers have to go through.
Okay.
You learn basic infantry skills. You begin to learn leadership capability, leadership tactics, and small unit maneuver warfare tactics. It was very formative for me. I was able to develop a baseline concept of what does it mean to be a Marine Corps officer, meaning servant leadership. And you hoped that I could utilize that, and I think I do as much as I can in my current job.
And then you also took a logistics officer course as well.
Yes, that's correct. So from the basic school, then we are identified as a certain specialty. For myself, I was picked to be a logistics officer, and that meant I went to North Carolina to complete logistics officer's course. LOC is otherwise what it's called.
Now, is this something, I'm sorry, let me just interrupt for a second. Is that something like that you identify that maybe this is something you want to do, or somebody just says you might be good at this, or how does that work?
It's a little bit of both.
Okay.
The best thing I can liken it to is almost like an NFL draft. You're able to put up your top picks that you want to go to, but then your staff platoon commander, who's your boss, your representative officer, sits down at a table with the other staff platoon commanders within the company, and they decide your fate. It's based upon your ranking, your peer evaluations, your leadership capability that your hires see. Many different factors roll into it.
Okay.
And I was then selected to be a logistics officer. So it was something I definitely wanted, and I was very fortunate that I was able to receive it. At logistics officer's course, it's just a baseline. I think a lot of the lessons that I have learned were through on-the-job experiences, but I was able to understand publications and standardized manuals that I could take with me to my first unit in order to implement the baseline knowledge. Okay,
so you join your first unit, and that's in San Diego.
Yes, that's correct. I was very fortunate to get out of San Diego. It's absolutely beautiful. If you remember Top Gun, the air base that was there in Miramar, California, that's actually where I was stationed. It was it was gorgeous. I was
the
with
volleyball
Marine
court
Wing
still
Support
there?
Squadron 373.
Okay.
And MWSS 373, which is otherwise called, is a support unit that provides transportation, communications, engineering capability to set up forward operating bases for fixed wing and rotor wing units.
Okay.
I started my time there as an assistant operations officer, and I also did the training officer billet. I also held other billets such as arms, ammunition, and explosives officer, and the sexual assault prevention officer. It was a huge shock going into the Marine Corps, a beautiful one, but a lot of huge learning lessons that I had to go through. Just being in charge of, millions of dollars worth of equipment, planning and training for operations so a unit can deploy. It was a lot of lessons that I had to learn on job, but I was very, very fortunate to have amazing Marines that taught me their jobs and provided me a great amount of guidance along the way.
That's great. Yeah, it sounds like an amazing experience. And the next in the timeline, it sounds like an also pretty interesting experience. You're deployed to the Middle East for 8 months.
That's correct. Yes, that's correct. I was selected to go as the assistant logistics officer, and I also held the billets as arms, ammunition, and explosive officer and material maintenance officer for Marine Aircraft Group 50. I went there, there being to Bahrain. We also held operations out of Jordan, various portions of the Middle East and of Africa in support of Operation Enduring Freedom. It was very formative for my Marine Corps career so far. I was able to serve with just extremely dedicated personnel, as all Marines and I believe military members are.
Sure.
But it was great to see the hundreds of hours of training finally come to fruition, and to witness the education that you have been utilized to protect and serve abroad. So I was based out of Isa, Bahrain, which is in the Middle East, but then was able to also engage with various other units there, such as VMFA 314, which is our primary. They are fighter jets that we supported throughout the Middle East.
So tell us a little bit more about that. You mentioned the billets that you held when you were there. What was kind of your day-to-day operation like? Like what kind of things are you doing?
So every day was a little bit different, to be honest, but I would be checking on the maintenance readiness of our unit. Were we able to support if needed, if we were called on within 24 hours to deploy to a certain area in the Middle East? We had to support with a unit that was able to provide communications, transportation, engineering to a forward operating base, so jets could utilize this as a push point to go forward and conduct their operations. So we set up bases and made sure they had the logistical capacity to continue the fight forward. My day-to-day would be making sure our maintenance readiness was accurately reported, and I was providing the Marines as much support as possible to give them the materials so they can fix whatever vehicles that might be down or equipment that might not be running properly. I would be tracking operations and seeing how I could support with logistics. And I also was able to do the arms, ammunition, and explosives. So that means keeping track of small arms, ammunitions, and larger weaponry that were required for our operations, making sure that they were ready to deploy and my Marines had the proper training and security provisions in order to conduct their jobs.
Okay, so pretty important stuff. And when you get back is when you move to Motor Transport Platoon Commander, or was that a direct result of what you were doing over there?
So that was not what I was doing while I was doing deployment, but I was very fortunate to get this position. I kept it for about a year, and I served approximately 115 Marines, and I was their commanding officer, their platoon commander for that year. We conducted logistics support through transportation for Marine Corps Air Base Miramar, and then also within the 1MEF area of responsibility. So what that looked like is we needed to move people, things, different places. They would call our unit and we would load it up and truck it out to where it's needed. My specific job, though, was not to make sure that these were loaded properly. I was there as a logistics officer to make sure that the Marines could conduct their jobs properly. So what that looked like to me was make sure the Marines have their proper training, that they are ready and set to deploy with the proper family care plans, with the health wellness that is required for a Marine to be able to push out at any time they're called upon. So although I'm not there turning the wrenches, I'm there to make sure that the Marines can do their job properly and provide them with the future plan so they can conduct the work that they need to get done.
Yeah, there's obviously a lot of planning and thought behind the scenes that go into making all this happen that a lot of times people don't realize or see. So so after that, you're in post-grad school to get your master's in security relations?
That is correct. I was selected on the Commandant's Career Level Education Board to conduct the foreign area officer program. So with that, I was able to get my graduate degree at the Naval Postgraduate School in Monterey, California. I studied, as you mentioned, national security affairs. And then after that, I came to the Washington, D.C. area, and I learned Vietnamese. I learned Vietnamese because I am a specialist in Southeast Asia. So although I learn only Vietnamese, I have to not only know the military capacity and the relationship between Vietnam and the United States, but also be able to translate to a commanding officer, a higher officer for development of strategic plans, the entire Southeast Asian outlook, and how the Marine Corps could assist in our impact with our partners and allies within that area.
Okay, so you're currently stationed in Vietnam. You're home on leave now, but you've
That's
been
correct.
stationed there for how long?
I've been there for 7 months, and I will be there for 6 more months.
Okay, and you're the logistics officer. So basically the same thing that you've been doing, or is this a little bit different? Or
So this is a little bit different. So how the Marine Corps conducts a foreign area officer billet is you go back and forth between your primary and your secondary specialty. My primary specialty being logistics officer, my secondary specialty being a foreign area officer. So right now I'm conducting my foreign area officer time. I'll then go back next to be a logistics officer, but I still utilize my knowledge and my experiences as a logistics officer to form and develop key insights into my engagements within Southeast Asia to understand a bigger perspective of how we could assist our partners and allies there.
okay,
And I will be going to Okinawa, Japan for my next unit to engage with my next unit as a logistics officer. And I hope to also utilize my foreign area officer experience there because I will be within the area of responsibility.
okay. Any interaction with high-ranking officials during your time recently?
Yeah, I've been very fortunate. I was able to assist with a few of the Assistant Secretary of Defenses that visited Vietnam, and then I also had the opportunity to assist with the delegation of the Secretary of Defense coming to visit Ho Chi Minh City. This was in approximately September of 2018. And it was such a great experience. He's a very noticeable figure in current affairs, but his presence is amazing, and his knowledge of not just international relations or the military, but just the depth and breadth of his knowledge is very incredible. And also how he engaged with the Marines was very inspiring. I was very fortunate to have that opportunity.
Yeah, I imagine it's probably, as you said, inspiring whenever you get somebody to come over there and kind of speak with you and kind of, I guess, show their appreciation for what you're doing.
Definitely. Although the primary objective was to meet with counterparts in Vietnam and to also progress our relationship through assistance of various war legacy issues such as dioxin remediation in Bien Hoa Air Base, the Secretary of Defense, Mattis, also utilized this time, as he always does, to engage with the Marines that are on post at the consulate and the embassy wherever he goes. And just to see that, to be able to see his humbleness, so that he never forgets that he is and always will be a Marine,
right.
And to engage with the junior enlisted personnel and show them that, we all are here for you because you are the ones that are working day in and day out to maintain security of the United States and our partners and allies' spaces. It was great to see that and very encouraging that, just the people who work on the ground are never forgotten by those who are conducting policy in Washington, D.C.
A real morale booster, I'm sure.
Definitely.
So let's talk about your personal life a little bit. You're married?
That is correct. I got married August 2018, so quite recently. And he's in D.C. right now, but he'll be coming out to Vietnam very soon.
And how did you meet?
So we met in the Washington, D.C. area. It was just a very great connection. His name is Alvaro Vega.
Yes, definitely mention his name.
His family is also in Washington, D.C., and he works in construction, is the most humble, supportive, caring man that I've ever met, and I'm very, very blessed to have him in my life and to be in his life. That's
great. Tell us about when you have some free time, some of your interests. I know you like to stay active, doing a lot of different things.
Yes. So for me, the best way to have a little bit of stress relief is to work out. I love CrossFit. I love going hiking, yoga. I also really enjoy cooking and painting on my free time.
Okay.
Although we don't have a lot of free time due to operational needs and requirements,
sure.
If I do have a minute or two, it's just nice for me to just sit back and kind of let my creative side take over a little bit and to enjoy that 30 minutes of peace.
Sure. And we talked about your time at Shawnee. You did some volunteering, and you continue to do that with the ASPCA.
Yes, that's correct. When I was in Monterey was the last time I was able to do the ASPCA work, but I think it's a great way to help out with your local community. When we're helping out with the ASPCA in Monterey, California, was when Central California had huge amounts of devastation due to forest fires, and the ASPCA was a huge help in collecting animals that were unfortunately abandoned or unable to be taken by their owners. And just seeing a whole community rally around ASPCA and other emergency response and being able to assist in any way possible those in need, it's really great being a part of that and being able to help out in any way possible. Unfortunately, I don't have much time to volunteer right
sure.
now in my position, but I was able to go through the embassy, the U.S. Embassy in Hanoi, Vietnam, and assist with a visually impaired local school in Hanoi.
Okay.
And we were able to have a lunar holiday festival with them, with bubbles and jump ropes, playing with the children. It was great, and it's a great way to get to know your local community that you're assisting and serving.
That's great. So any future plans or goals, either professionally or personally for you?
Sure. So the next step in my professional career is I'm going to be hopefully taking over a company command at Okinawa, Japan, and my husband and I will be over there for 3 years.
Okay.
We're also going to be doing a church wedding because we have not had the opportunity yet. So we're going to be going to Bolivia, where him and his family are from, and we're going to be having a church wedding there.
Very cool.
Yeah, and some just other personal goals that I have is to maintain community relations and maintain engagement wherever I am. So I really enjoy volunteering, and for me that's a huge outlet of just getting to know the local community and staying in touch with a sense of reality, because sometimes it's, as we all know, we get really wrapped up in our day-to-day of work, but being able to step back and being grateful for what we have, and also saying, where else can I improve, how else can I give to those in need, because we are very fortunate in what we have.
That's absolutely true. And we're fortunate as well to have you out there on the front lines for us and supporting our troops, and we thank you for your service for that. And congratulate you on all your success, and hope it continues for you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
And that'll do it for this episode of Where Are They Now? For more Lenape District alumni interviews, check us out at youtube.com/Lenape District TV. We'll see you next time.